Alrighty, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to the podcast. As you can see, we are rookies here. I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a while since I've done a podcast, and I'm fully aware of that. And there's been a lot that's happened, like a whole lot. I don't think I need these headphones. Not just in my life, but also in the life of the world. I mean, my God, like it's been crazy. I think I haven't done an episode in like almost 3 months now, and that's obviously the longest I've ever gone without doing an episode. And I apologize for that. I know my last episode I said I wasn't going to do that. I was going to continue to put out content, but things happened, and due to certain events, I couldn't do it. I legally couldn't do it. I also couldn't. A lot's happened. Essentially, the job that I was studying for, the job that I worked hard for, the job that I, was able to qualify myself for, which was in finance. I basically made it all the way through. I don't want to get into too many details because I don't know how many details I can get into. Like I said, for a lot of reasons, I'm no longer with the company anymore. Like, I don't work for them. I don't have any contracts signed with them. There's nothing like that at all. And I'm not saying anything that's untrue at all. So, I'm safe in that regard. But basically what ended up happening is I had to decide ethically and personally if this was a career that I wanted to do. And ultimately I decided no. Ultimately I decided this is not the path that I want to go down in my life. I've always been somebody who I've never wanted to do something just for money. And on top of that, I never wanted to do anything that I would consider not living a truthful life to myself. I've always done things, I guess, a little bit different than most. I've done clothing companies. I've done vlogs and YouTube. I used to do YouTube video game commentaries. I even did like a little clothing company with one of my buddies, and a lot of that has to do with the conventional path is not something that I've always resisted it in a lot of ways. And sometimes, most of the time, all the time, it's not because I'm trying to be a contrarian. It's not because I'm trying to be an asshole. I get scared that when I turn 70 years old, I'm going to look at my life and be like, holy crap, I should have done that. I should have done this. I didn't do this. Why didn't I do that? And a lot of the reasons that people end up at that age going like, fuck, man, why did I choose that path when I clearly did not want that path? I clearly did not want to go down that path. Before I continue, guys, I also, if you're watching on YouTube, I do apologize. There's a possibility that my light shuts off because it's been so long since I've started this podcast, since I've done an episode. I can't remember the configuration I had in order for a light to work. So most people just listen to my podcast, so that's not a big deal. If the light does go off, I'm just going to turn on a light on my phone so I can continue with the podcast. But as I was saying, like, a lot of people end up at a moment in their life where they go like, fuck, I should have done this, or damn, I wish I did that. And I didn't want to be that person, that scares me. I don't really, I'm lucky enough to have a life where there's never been a time in my life where I was wondering when my next meal was, or there's never a time in my life where I was wondering like, hey, am I going to see my parents today, or anything like that. I've been I wouldn't say sheltered, but I've been very lucky. The only reason why I was sheltered, but I was sheltered by 2 police officers. Therefore, I couldn't have been sheltered because I was able to see the dark side of humanity and what can come from people if people don't have rules and regulations, and if people don't have, which is something I've learned the older I become, people who don't have support in their life, or people that don't have a healthy emotional state or healthy physical state or healthy mental state. And a lot of that, when you don't have that and you don't have anyone to turn to, you end up turning to a life of crime. And anyways, I'm going off a path here, but I decided I didn't want to do that. Fuck, I forgot oh, there it is. I got my water. Cool. My mouth gets really dry when I do this. And I'm very excited to be back. I really am. Like, I'm super pumped to be back with you guys. Shit, it's just, there's a lot. I'm trying to just put every piece together. I woke up one day, I put on my suit, I was going in the office, and I passed 3 exams. All I had to do was pass one more exam. Once I passed the exam, I was a full-time contractor. I was sketched out this towards the end of the process. I didn't like how long it was taking. I didn't like the lack of communication. I felt like I was kind of being pulled along. I didn't appreciate that. I didn't like that. I thought that was something that, to me, was unprofessional. And I'm not going to say the company's name, but if this company is, at least according to reviews, it's this, what I was experiencing wasn't unique. And I was able to just kind of like turn a blind eye to it, like, oh yeah, oh well, that's what happens. But that's not what happens. And this is something that a lot of people out there are probably in finance. And to be perfectly honest, I might end up back in finance. Like, I love finance. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think if you could learn finance, you can do whatever the hell you want in your life. If you can control your money, if you can have power with your money, if you can make options that are logical with your income, if you can learn how to spend below your income, the world is literally it's your oyster, which is a disgusting word. And it's also weird that people eat that. So I decided I can't do that anymore. So about 2 weeks ago, I went in the office and I felt like I blindsided and I was like, hey man, I can't do this anymore. And before that, we had a conversation and I just told him everything that I thought. And, so I'm not working there anymore. I have a couple certifications that I can use. But I was depressed. Like, for the last 2 months, I've been depressed. Like I think maybe the most depressed I've ever been in my life. There's been moments in my life where I'm like kind of like in the mud and like sad and upset, but this sucked because I started on a path I was very excited for, and then I ended up in a place that wasn't me. And I felt like I had to continue going down that path, and I had to keep moving down that path because I've invested so much into it. And I was having a conversation with Taylor, she's been incredible. Yeah, she's been absolutely incredible during this whole. Everybody's been incredible. I've been MIA. I haven't been on social media. That was a choice that I made before this job. It was kind of influenced by that, but I didn't want to be on social media anymore. It's not a place that you want to be. It's a place where I've always been on it because I needed to be on it. The podcasts, clothing companies, stuff like that. But even now, starting back up the podcast, I'm only going to pop on to upload like, hey, I got a new podcast up. That's it, man. That's it. Like, I'm done with that. It's a world that I don't want to be in anymore. And I apologize. I went on Instagram. I mean, I wasn't on it. I didn't log into any social media besides to look at a TikTok when fucking Taylor sends it to me. But I wasn't on social media for a solid month and a half. Like, not even like pulled it up, like not even looked at it. I didn't know I kind of knew what was going on in the world, and we can get into that because of the stock market, which I constantly pay attention to. But outside that, I was never on it. I literally did not pull it up. And the reason why I did that, a few reasons. One reason is because my job, I couldn't be on social media, but had a lot of rules with that. So I was like, I'm just going to play it safe and not get on it. But also because I think like 3 years ago at this point, I was at a lake around here, Smith Mountain Lake, actually. And I noticed that this was like the happiest moment of my life. And the reason why it was the happiest moment of my life is because at the time, this part of the lake, I didn't have internet access, so I couldn't be on my phone. So all I did was read and talk to people and look at like the water like a crazy person. It was at that moment where I was like, I don't need this in my life. I don't need this in my life. And then I continued using it because I made up excuses. I need to connect with people. I need to keep up with my friends. Or I need to blah, 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 blah. But that's not true, though. Like, I don't think that's true at all. Like, I have the friends in my life know that they're my friends. Like, the people that I've built relationships with, they don't need me to be on social media to know that we're tight. You know, those aren't the relationships I have. I don't have that many relationships, but the relationships I do have are tight. Like, I would go to war for the people closest to me. I really would. And you know who you are if you're listening to this. If you're someone listening to this fucking podcast right now, to me, you're most likely we're really tight. And I appreciate every single person in my life. And it was scary because I took a leap of faith. I was like, I'm not doing this. And it brought me to tears. And it brought me to tears because I felt like I was losing my identity. I wasn't making a podcast. That sucked, dude. That was like the first time in like 10 years where I wasn't creating. I've always created, whether it was Call of Duty videos, whether it was vlogs, or whether it was, podcasting, or whether it was clothing companies, or whether it was workout programs. Like, I've always created something, but it was stripped away from me. Like, this part of who I am is somebody who's creative. It was stripped away from me for something that was an investment for a world. After I knew what I was going to be doing, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. That does not line up with my ethics. I'm not going to give you this so you can use it. I'm not gonna sell this because I don't believe in it. And that ultimately that's what it was. And I cried because it was tears of, damn, Mike, what have you been doing? Why didn't you do this earlier? Like, hey man, it's gonna be okay, bro. You just gotta get over it. You gotta stop. So I did. I put in. I didn't even have to put in my 2 weeks because I was pre whatever. And the things I was told were turning into mistruths. I'm a lawyer. So I couldn't do it. So anyways, that was about 2 weeks ago. Since then, and the worst part is there was a solid 4-month period there where I'm not even lying to you. I couldn't work. I couldn't make money on the side because of whatever. There was 4 months. Like, when they say, have an emergency fund, just, 6-month emergency fund. Dude, I had 4 months where I only made $500 one time. I swear to God. That's all I made. So I ran my savings out a little bit, and that sucked. I'm still like, I could go probably if I really wanted to, I could go a whole year now, just with the money I have. But that was so ridiculous to me. That was so insane to me. I thought that was absolutely insane. And if this is just the way that the finance world is, I don't want to be part of it, bro, because that is wrong. That is bad. I don't care. And you can tell me it's an investment. I don't know. It's not an investment. You're taking advantage of the system. And I don't like that. I did not like that. I did not like the place I was in. I did not like the way I was treated. So I said, fuck that. I'm out, dog. So basically now what I'm doing is I'm just it sounds so dumb. I've been applying to a lot of jobs. I've been applying to remote positions. I've been applying to local marketing positions, social media positions. We're in Roanoke, so there is a decent amount of job. There's a lot of job opportunity, but I'm not doing a bullshit job. And I know it's crazy because I'm technically unemployed right now. I'm just door dashing. But I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I still have the power. Like, I don't need money. I would like to have an income, like a consistent income, but I don't need it, So like, I'm looking for, even though I haven't had a paycheck for a while now, I'm not out there taking the first thing I can get. I'm not doing that. I'm waiting for something. I'm applying to about 2 to 3 jobs a week. I've gotten hits a few times. But in the meantime, I'm just literally door dashing. I'm door dashing. My goal is to make about $600 a week, which I think is like $450. Not much at all, $450. And I can invest again, which I haven't been able to invest because I was in finance, so I couldn't do that. Um, Maybe I could have, but I was concerned. I was scared. Uh, so I can invest again. I'm just myself again, and it sounds so dumb, but like I remember there was a moment in my life where I remember my dad left a position at Prince George's County Park Police where he was a detective, and he was a really good. I mean, my dad is a savage of a cop. Like, he's a really good cop, and he was even a better detective. And above all that, he's the best father anyone could ever ask for. And if you know my dad, you know that to be true. Like, I mean, obviously he's only the father to me and Jen, but just a father figure, just as a man, I mean, the person I am today is because of him, because of my mother, who they've been so supportive. Like, I'm so lucky for that. I don't know how many people can go to their parents and be given an opportunity where you have a good potential career. Like, I was going to make some serious money from this position. And as I was leaving, I was told that by people. They're like, there's a lot of money on the table, man. And it's not about the money, and that's just me. Like, it's not about the fucking money up to a point. Like, you got to put your flag in something. And I put my flag in what I was selling. I didn't like the people who I was going to sell to. I didn't want to sell to. And it just wasn't me. It was not me. It was not me. And it's still not me. And that's why I fucking turned the other cheek. But I remember watching, I actually said this in the meeting, which was probably not the brightest thing to say, because I basically it was like a backhanded compliment. Actually, not even a compliment. It was just kind of, I was being not an asshole, but it was kind of fucked up what I said. But I remember watching. He left that position because he was going to get paid more, but it was a leadership position. It was like a management position. Like, he's a leader, but he likes to work independently. And as a detective, you can do that. The people you associate with, are victims, witnesses, suspects, like that. So you can kind of control your whole ecosystem. But I remember, I mean, my dad and I have been talking on the phone every single Sunday since we moved here. I think we missed like 2 Sundays. One because I had to study for my series, which, by the way, I do have a Series 7, so I'm like FINRA certified. So technically, I can like do stuff like that. Like, I guess I could like get a job that's like FINRA. I have it for a few years, which was hard to get. Like, that's not an easy thing to get. Like, and I did it really fast. Like, I did it within like 30 days, which is like, it's like a 3-month study time period. But when I tell you, I was 7 days a week. I'm not even lying to you. Like, 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. I was studying. Like, every single day for 4 months. I mean, what is that? 240 days to 120 days just studying. I mean, every single hour, 10 hours a day, like 1,200 hours. And it paid off. Like, I passed all my tests the first time. I passed them confidently too. Like, I've never studied before in my life, like, for anything ever. So it was kind of weird to like study. I didn't know how to do it. I had to like talk to Taylor about it. But I'm like obsessive person. So like, once I figured it out, I was all in. Like, I didn't stop studying. All I did was study, which was fine. It is what it is. But I remember him just coming home from work, and he hated it. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do something you don't want to do? And I've always said that on this podcast. I've said that to people I've talked. I don't do things that I don't want to do. And that doesn't mean I'm a bitch. That doesn't mean I'm like a pussy. That doesn't mean I don't know how to work hard. Like, I know how to work hard. I have no issue with that. But I don't want to be that person who does something knowing that they hate it, but continues to do it for a paycheck. There's people out there who need to do that. And we're like, a salute to you. Like, that's incredible. Like, I know there's people out, like single mothers out there, that they have to do that. I don't have to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. And I probably sound like a spoiled bitch right now. And you guys probably like rolling your eyes like, fucking Michael, like, what are you doing? But also the people that are in a position right now where they hate, like, they don't want to work where they work. They don't enjoy their environment where they work. They don't actually like doing what they want to do. You are probably listening to this and you're beating yourself over the head. Is that the phrase? I don't think that's the phrase. But you're probably like, fuck, man. Like, why am I here? And I think a lot of people need to think long and hard about that. Why are you doing what you do? Are you doing it for the paycheck? And if that's it, like, don't do it. Just don't do it, because time is everything. I think there's an argument to be made there that, okay, you're getting paid 100K a year. That's awesome. If you can manage to do that for a solid 10 years, invest 40K a year, live well below your means, invest 400K after 10 years, and then maybe get a different job. And, maybe there's an argument for that you can save your time by actually putting in a very stressful, hateful job for 100K a year. And then, that's assuming that you're good with your money. That's assuming you don't have debt. Like a lot of these jobs that pay 100K plus, what's the price you pay for that? It's debt over your fucking dick. Like, you can't, like, paying off that debts. I've had conversations with Taylor about, like, she's in dermatology and she's very good with her money. She's naturally good with her money. Like, it's upsetting sometimes. But a lot of people, they do 100K, 150, 200K, and the debt is just ridiculous. And, like, the debt compounds. It just keeps going. And, no one's going to pay that debt off. Joe Biden, when he came in office, said he's going to cancel the debt. That's not happening. Like, don't ever think that's going to happen. Like, I'm probably going to get into all, like, the Ukraine stuff and Russia stuff this episode. We'll see. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do one episode a week. They're going to be on Tuesday. Obviously, you guys are watching this on Tuesday. But I'm going to go for an hour-long episode. And I'm going to try to do 1 day a week, 4 episodes a month. I might do an extra episode here and there. I might develop a Patreon, and a Patreon is basically where I do an extra episode. It basically is a subscription-based model where you pay me. You pay me, like, $5 a month, and you get, like, an extra episode a month. I might end up doing that. I'm not 100% sure yet, because I know this sounds dumb, but what I want to do is, like, I want to make money off this podcast. Like, I've made money before, but I want to make, like, real money off this podcast. And I'm going to try to do one episode a week. That's my goal. And it could end up being more than that. But each one's going to be an hour long instead of 40 minutes long. That's what I'm going to go for. The reason why is because I like hour-long podcasts. I don't listen. I do listen to podcasts for like 20, 30, 40 minutes. I will do that, but also to me, podcasts have to be at least an hour. That's just kind of like the rule. But at the same time, I am like a solo dolo kind of guy. Like, I'm just doing it by myself. So that's kind of aggressive. Before I was doing 2 40-minute podcasts a week, which was 80 minutes, 360 minutes, 6, 12, 24, 4 hours. 4 hours a week, 4 hours a month of talking, which I'm actually still doing now. 1, 2, yeah. So 12, 24, 16, 32, 6, 12, 24. That was 4 hours and 4.5 hours, actually, or something like that. I don't know. But that's ultimately what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm DoorDashing right now, like, literally 5 days a week. It's fun. It's fine. It's okay. Like, it's, like, I would say it's not a bad gig, and I'm treating it like a job. Like, I'm up DoorDashing from 7:30 a.m. to noon, having lunch with Taylor, and then I'm 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. going to the gym. So what's that? 3, 4, 4.5 hours, 1 to 4, 8.5 hours of DoorDashing a week, or a day. So, like, that's a lot of, I'm DoorDashing a lot, and I'm making like $650, $700 a week, which is nothing crazy, but, like, it's good to have income again. Like, oh my God, like, I've been working since I've been 15. I'm 25. So it's been the longest I ever went without making income was the last 3 months. That was hell. It was brutal, dude, not being able to make money. Like, fuck, man. It sucked, because the worst part about it is when you spend money. My whole life, I've always spent money knowing I was going to make money. This was the first time in my life where every time I spent money, I wasn't making money back. That, like, to me, that was emotional. Like, that was brutal, bro. That was the worst thing possible. Worst thing possible. because I'm like such a money guy. Like I'm always thinking about money. I'm thinking about how to make money. And like, that's like, that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the stock market. I enjoy numbers. Like I'm like OCD with numbers. So like I couldn't do that. And that was like brutal. I hated that. That was not fun. That was not fun at all. But I remember just watching my dad, and he was miserable. And, he put on weight. He got depressed. He started drinking, couldn't sleep anymore. And I was like, fuck that, dude. We don't have to do that. Why would you do that if you don't have to do it? You don't even want to do it. You hate where you work. It's so far. I mean, it's an hour a day to go to work. Like, fuck all that shit. Get out of here with that. We're not doing that. That's dumb. Don't do that. That's dumb. And then I was going down the same path, and that's what was making me sad. I was like, and once I realized that, I think that's what really brought on the tears. That's what really made me depressed, because I realized that about a month and a half into it. I middle of January, I really was like, I'm getting pulled along, because I ignored red flags for a while, and I could be wrong. This process is also something where I give the benefit of the doubt. A lot of people love this process. I mean, there's people out there who all they want to do is be in finance. All they want to do is work XYZ company, and this is what their family does, and they expect this. But this is not what I was brought up to be. This is not how I was. This is not what I expected. I didn't expect this. If I went into this knowing what to expect, then I probably wouldn't have done it. But if I did do it, I would have been aware of what I was doing. But I think that was the most upsetting thing, is I didn't know what I was doing. And there's a lot of people who get this gig and they celebrate, like this is a huge moment for a lot of people. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Like I'm walking away from something that a lot of people want to do. And do I feel guilt for that? Maybe a little, but not anymore. Not anymore, because you know what? That's not me. That wasn't me. And I think there's power in that. There's power in somebody going like, fuck that. And thank God for DoorDash, because now I can make money. I can invest again. I can do things that I want to do again. Like it sounds so dumb, but we couldn't go to if we went to a restaurant, like I was scared because I didn't want to keep, I was just draining my bank accounts. And that sucks, dude. It sucks, especially when you work so hard to make money. That was like, fuck that, dude. But we're good on that end now. I don't think I'm depressed anymore. Like, I think I'm good now. I'm back to being like angry again and like happy. Because like when you're depressed, you don't really experience emotions the same way. They don't really exist anymore. Like they're kind of just, everything's just one, like you don't, like to be angry, like when you, like being angry is almost like a blessing, because to be angry, if you're doing it the right way, it's because something that you expected didn't work out, which means you had expectations, which means you're like alive in a lot of ways. And when you're not angry, like you got to be like, am I depressed? Because you just don't care anymore. And that's scary. Like not caring is death, to me, that's death. And I just don't want, I guess what I'm trying to say here for the first 30 minutes of this podcast is I'm good. I'm happy to be back. Like I went to bed last night like, fuck yeah, I'm so pumped to do a podcast today, because it's me, and people listen. I mean, a few people reached out on social media when I looked at Instagram, like missing it, and like I miss doing it. I do. Being, decent, like 5 hours away from Annapolis, like, you feel like you're kind of disconnected from the world, which is totally fine. But like, there's relationships that you want to connect to. And like, if the podcast is the way I do it, that's the way I do it. And I just appreciate everybody in my life right now. I'm so fucking lucky to be the person I am. I'm so lucky. And these are just the things that like, there's moments in your life where you got to make a hard decision. And that was the thing. This wasn't a hard decision. That's what's kind of scary. It wasn't a hard decision. It was the right decision. It was a decision that had to be made. Unfortunately, it had to be made. It's not for me. It's just not for me. Maybe sometime. I mean, I put on my suit and I looked at myself, and my first reaction was, "What the fuck am I doing?" I swear to God, I'm not like a Jim Carrey. I'm not like a fucking crazy artist. I'm not like, but like I was like, what am I doing putting on this suit that I got from Target? Mm-mm. No way. No way. It's I literally like when I told the person I told about me leaving, I was like I put on a suit and it just wasn't me. And he was like, "Huh?" Because that's the way, that's just the way I felt. Like that was one of the reasons why I was like, not doing it. Because I had to put on a suit, dude. I'm not ready to put on a suit. Tell me to grow up. That's fine. I don't care. Tell me to grow up. That's totally cool. I understand where you're coming from, but no, 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 no. I would much rather be a grave digger than have to put on a suit. I didn't have a suit. I had to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe. Um, but that same week I decided to do that, I got hit with a flu that was just ridiculous. Taylor and I had, it was Friday night. I think it was Friday night. And we had a glass of Prosecco and I had like a cream cheese bagel. Okay. And I eat it and I have the wine and I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning. I'm like, oh, my stomach hurts. Ow. So I go take a shit. Okay. Come back. Too much information. Get in bed. And I'm scared the whole time because Taylor has a real fear of not being sick, but she has a real fear when I'm sick. And on top, and like the worst part about it is she's terrified to throw up. Not like me throwing. It's the sound of throw up she hates. So like every time I'm sick, I'm like, I love, like I don't mind throwing. I shouldn't say I love throwing up because the therapist would be like, Michael, what's going on, buddy? But or at least I hope they would. Why do you like throwing up? Well, I used to be bulimic. So how's that first start? You used to be bulimic? I used to be bulimic. Isn't that crazy? I used to be bulimic. Isn't that cool? I used to throw up. Life is a fucking joke, dude. It's so funny. Life is a comedy. It really is. It's a comedy. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. Man. Fuck it. I'm not gonna go there. Don't go there, Mike. Come on. Be PC, bro. I miss my alien friends. I don't know what Toby is. Oh, Toby's in the kitchen. That's my little gorilla friend. I think that's what we named him. I gotta come up with a name again for him. I don't know. I have the most unstable table in the world right here, where my mic is at. Do you like this setup? I really like this setup a lot. It's simple. It's not complex. It's super easy. I can like lay back. I don't have my table. I took apart my table. Bad memories. Put that table away. I'm still stuck in the closet. There's shadows that needs to be fixed, but like I was so excited to do a podcast today. I just said fuck it and I hopped on. I think I'm wearing the shirt 3 podcasts in a row, maybe. But I came down with a nasty flu. Then I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that was when I was like, I'm sick. But I didn't think I was like flu sick. I thought I was like, since I never really drink, I drink probably once every 2-3 months. Like Taylor and I've had 3 nights of drinking since we got here. That was another thing. I was like drinking. Well, I drank like twice while I was studying, but I was drinking like Tuesday night. But it was an excuse for me. I was like, I just want to have a drink because I worked hard, or like because it's been a long day. I don't ever want to drink because I've had a long day, or I don't ever want to drink because like I've worked hard. Like rewarding yourself with something that's not good for you is probably not a path you want to go down. That's just like that's just the way I kind of look at it. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm not like I don't want to be like mean to people. It's just not for me. But I'm also paranoid. Like I also don't want to get Alzheimer's. That's why I read so much. That was another thing that sucked. I'm pointing at you guys like you're right in front of me, but that was another thing that fucking sucked. I couldn't read anymore. Dude, that was brutal. Taylor was reading like books left and right. And I'm over here like just bonds, municipal bonds, U.S. Treasury bonds, fucking HSAs, Coverdell, like fucking 401k, Roth, like blah blah blah. There's a lot of valuable information. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy I did the studying. Like I might even go back and reread the books. The value was so high. Like what I was actually learning. But that was it. Look at me. I'm so unprofessional. U.S. So the market's doing today, dude. I haven't checked yet. Boom. We were doing well. Now we're down. Oh well. Oh well. Let me get back up my clock here. But I couldn't read. That was making me sad. I read one book called No ID, which is a fascinating book. I don't know. I'm a capitalist, right? Like, I believe in capitalism. I do believe that it does, just I think off of facts, it does lead to wealth gaps. But I don't think I don't think that's capitalism. People would debate with me, but I don't think that's capitalism because I think that's human nature. Even like in a socialist government or even like in a communist government, you still have wealthy individuals. You still have your billionaires. And like in communism, the people at the top have all the money. And I don't understand like how if we think about like China, we think about like North Korea, for example, like it's communist. That's communism. And that's not like a fluke thing. Like I know a lot of people go like, well, like people who are Marxist, the people who are communist, they go like their argument is, well, communist hasn't been done right. How many how many trials do we do? Like, how many North Koreas do we do? And people bring up like China, but China's also, they're communist, but they're also capitalist. Like they really are. Like you can go to China, you can invest in the market in China. If you follow the rules in China, you can develop your own company. It's always going to be owned by the state, but like in a communist country, you can't do any of that. Like fuck, I'm blanking on everything. Italy under Mussolini, the guy in Spain, Adolf Hitler. Like communism doesn't work out. Like I don't understand. Like and I'm not saying capitalism's like not flawed. Like it's flawed. Like the thing is with like the pandemic, which was I'm gonna say it now, and I'll probably get yanked off of YouTube. What we did was over the top. And like I know people say, well, we were so scared we didn't know but like we did know what was happening though. Like 4 months in the pandemic, we had numbers. Like percentages don't lie. Like that's something that, like if you have 99 out of 100 people, or like 99.8 people who get something and then they don't die out of 100 people, those get it and only 0.2 die. It's only 100 people, but you can extrapolate that. Like percentages don't really lie. And I think like we knew that early on, but like we had like this, and Trump, they turned the vaccines quick. That's what they wanted. And I think we've spent so much time like on these vaccines that like, and they don't work. Like they maybe keep you from dying, but like they don't do what they said. I mean, what we were told was that they stopped the spread. I mean, Rachel Maddow was on CNN saying like they stopped the spread. Like if you get the shot, you can't get COVID. That's what she said. You cannot get it. That's what we were told. And now we're telling people that you need to get a fourth booster. Boosters weren't a thing. Vaccine passports were a conspiracy theory. We had them, and now we're getting rid of them. Why would you get rid of them? Oh wait, you're getting rid of them because COVID's over, because we just decided it's done. It's weird. It was a thing that was like what it did. And this is what I'm reading a book right now. I finished No ID, which was a decent book. It was fine. It was good. It was nice to hear it. It's a very popular book read by people who are anti-capitalist, people who are environmentalist, people who people on the left. Very progressive individuals. I'm very progressive as well, but I'm not, I don't, when it comes to money, I'm very conservative in that aspect. I think it's because I work hard for my money. But that doesn't mean I don't want to pay taxes. Like I love paying taxes. I don't mind paying taxes if I know that they're going to people who need them, but they're not, and they're not all going to the fucking corrupt politicians. But guess what? They're going to the corrupt politicians. So it's like, you can take 50% of my taxes. If only 10% of them are going to the people, then just take 10% of my taxes. You know what I mean? Like, but instead they take 50%, like in California, or 48, 42, whatever it is, and only 1% is going to the actual people. So it's like, it's one of those things where I'm like, well, fuck you. Go eat a dick. Get out of here. I don't trust them. I don't trust any of those fucks. don't trust them at all. Like, I mean, so many things have happened since I've been gone. I'm about to get heated, dude. Fuck, I'm about to get heated. This last 20 minutes are just going to be me rambling. Well, that's actually what every episode has always been for. Episode 250, bro. I had a serious flu. It was brutal. I was sick. I threw up 5 times the first day. Like, I've never thrown up that much. And the last 2 times, I forced myself to throw up. Like, I stuck my finger down my throat to make myself throw up. It was brutal. It sucked. And I had to do that because I had to throw up. I just had to throw up. And Taylor's I'm texting Taylor, hey, about to throw up. You want to go on a walk? And she goes, walks and comes back. It was funny. And then she got sick, but like, she had to come home from lunch one day and like sleep. I don't know what it is. She takes like these little, they're not Xanax. They're a pill that makes you less nauseous. Zoloft? Nope, not Zoloft. Zoloft? No, Zoloft is depression. Anyway, she takes it and then like she just doesn't get sick. I took it and then I threw it up an hour later. And then right when I threw up, I was like, I have one because I've just thrown up. So I probably won't throw up again for like, 3-4 hours, like a normal sick person. I threw up that one again immediately. So like, it sucked. It sucked a lot. But there's studies coming out. Like, I'm going to pull up on my laptop here. This is so ghetto what we're doing here. There's like studies coming out about like these kids now, they can't learn anymore. Like this was my whole fear, like during the entire pandemic, like you go too far one way. And when you go too far one way, there's always consequences, no matter what it is. Mental health in children. I've been seeing it everywhere. It's been New York State failed to provide legally a new husband. Poll finds children struggle with mental health during. Here we go. So this is from Business Insider. This is from a day ago. And these are the things that people don't want to talk about because they're hard truths. Like I mean, the truth of this matter, after like we knew what COVID was, like there was no reason to have lockdowns. There really wasn't. I don't think there was. And also what happens like during lockdowns and like during pandemics is the government, what they do is they make money more accessible. And this is something that people hate to hear, but this is the facts of the matter. When the government gives out free money and they give businesses benefits and they help these businesses out by giving them basically, I mean, interest rates were 0%. So when you're giving these billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars to like airline companies, to like technology companies at a 0% interest rate, you're giving them free money, because giving people money without interest rate is not a loan. That's free money. That's what it is. And what happens is the people who are wealthy, what they do with their money is they put it in assets. People who are not wealthy, they put it in savings accounts. What's the difference between a savings account and an asset? Savings account doesn't accumulate money. It gives you like 0.1% return. So it does nothing. And when inflation's up 7%, 8%, I think it's going to get up to like 9%. I really do. Maybe not that high. Hopefully it stops around like 7.5%, 8%, but we'll see. What happens is the gap grows, because if you're in the assets and there's free money in the market, people are spending. And when people are spending, they're spending it on Apple, they're spending it on Amazon, they're spending it on Google, they're spending it these places. And what happens is these companies' profits go up. And if you're someone who's wealthy and you have access to the market, or you own real estate, or if you own houses, you make a lot of money. When the market goes up 22%, the S&P 500 goes up 22% in year of 2020, you have $1 million or $10 million in the market, you just make $2.2 million. You see what I mean? But if you're somebody who doesn't have money in the market, you actually lost 7% because inflation shot up. And the money that you were supposed to be saving and putting into investments, you didn't, you spent. So wealth gaps are created. Like the wealth gap is absurd now. I love Elon. I love Jeff Bezos. I like these guys because they create amazing companies that employ millions of people, and you can't argue that. But what happens is then there's a resentment against these companies, because these companies are now making so many people super wealthy, and the workers aren't making. They're making more money, but not much more money, and their investments aren't giving them income. So like what happens is when you shut things down, you have to feed the system with money. So you print money. So you can just see like the cycle. And poor people get poorer because they lose 7% of their income. If you have $100,000 in your bank account, you lost $7,000. And what? That doesn't make sense. Well, the value of your dollar dissipated. There's more demand. There's not enough supply. Prices go up. When prices go up, that means inflation goes up. But you still have to buy gas, which is a completely different story. You still have to buy milk. But the demand's so high, there's not enough supply. The supply chain's falling apart because everyone's just locking everything down. And when you lock everything down, people can't go to work. There's not many people working anymore because people are getting laid off. And you can just see the chaos that happens. And that was something that, like, we knew going into it, like, this is a bad idea, but we continued on with it, you know? And, like, we continued shutting these things down. And, like, the hypocrisy, and I've been saying this a lot of people have been saying this the entire fucking time. But people look at you like you're an absolute fucking conspiracy theorist. They're like, it's like, hey, man, why was Target and why was I don't know, Whole Foods or, like, Giant or, like, you know, why were these places allowed to stay open the entire time? But, you know, I was going to say KGB, but that would be a very inappropriate time to use that acronym. But why was, like, WPC, mom and pop's grocery store, not allowed to be open? You know, why couldn't they be open? Why couldn't a local Quickie Mart be open, but 7-Eleven could be open? It was complete nonsense. It was bullshit. Why could I go to McDonald's and get food, but I couldn't go to, like, a local Jewish bakery? It's complete nonsense. It was bullshit the entire time. The mask, I mean, let's be honest here. Fauci said, don't need to wear a mask. I know you guys are probably tired of COVID, but it's been 3 months, so we're gonna go. On 60 Minutes, he says that. He says that anything, they make people feel safe. And then he comes back and says, you need to wear them. And then he says, the reason why I told you that is because we needed to give more masks to the hospital people. That's fine, but you didn't say that. You lied to the American people, and now we're supposed to trust you. If you start a relationship off with a lie, you're never going to get back on even ground. Like, that's psychology 101. That's life 101. We know that to be true. So when you tell people to wear a mask, after you told them you don't need to wear a mask, and now you got to wear a mask because everyone who was supposed to have a mask has a mask, no one's going to believe you. And then when the head of the WHO comes out and says your little fucking cloth mask, which everybody was wearing because N95s are so damn expensive that they don't do anything, that they're useless, that they're just as, like, useless as, like, any old mask. Like, what are you doing? Now if you want to wear a mask, you got to wear N95. Get the fuck out of here. And then Omicron pops up. We don't have enough testing. What have you been doing the whole time? Pushing vaccines down people's throats, even though you know people aren't going to get a vaccine. You know 20% of the country's not going to get a vaccine. I didn't get the booster. Taylor got the booster. She works in healthcare. Different story. I didn't get the booster because fuck that. It's complete nonsense. And the other dark side that nobody wants to talk about is the mental health that it had on children, on parents, on grandparents, on everybody. You couldn't go to funerals because, oh my God, you might get COVID. Oh my God. Like, fuck you. You can't decide if I go to a funeral, one of my friends or family die. You can't tell me I can't go. If I'm willing to take that risk, fuck you. Don't tell me what I can do. Get out of here with that. That's complete nonsense. That was bullshit from the beginning, and you knew it was bullshit from the beginning, but you followed it. It was complete nonsense. And now, here we go. This is from Business Insider. I probably can't get a lot of it. And it's going to start. It's not just going to start with mental health. It's going to start with money. It's going to start with wealth gaps. And then ultimately what it's going to do, it's going to lead to suicide. It's going to lead to death. It's going to lead to a lot of people going crazy. And also, here's another thing, is when you have a populace of people who are not educated, you have a failing country. You have nothing without education. And when you've spent 2 years with your kids on Zoom, from 4 to 6, 6 to 8 years old, even in high school, even in college, when you have these kids who don't know how to learn, who they can't recognize facial expressions, they don't know how to communicate, what you're developing is a lack of an educated populace. And that's an issue. That's an issue because if you can't learn how to educate yourself, if you don't have access to education, if you're treating teachers like shit, and you're not allowing teachers to decide what they want to do in their own fucking classrooms, you're going to have a dumb group of people. When you have a dumb group of people, intervention. I'm having an intervention. Innovation doesn't happen. When innovation doesn't happen, you fall in the second place. That's the truth. And that's what's going to happen. And it's starting now. And it's slowly coming out. And they're finally realizing, like, fuck, man, maybe we fucked up. You knew you fucked up. You knew it. But you didn't change it because you were scared that it was going to hurt if you became president or not. And this is for both sides. This is for both sides. It was nonsense. Nearly half, this is from Business Insider by Nicole Gardanino. You should work at The Guardian. Nearly half of U.S. parents say their children have struggled with mental health challenges and more fell behind in school during the pandemic. There's a narrative out there that wasn't true. And now they're fucking admitting it. This was published March 30th, yes, 2 days ago. Well, I don't know, fucking, when I'm recording this. Nearly half of parents surveyed said their children have struggled with mental health challenges. More parents, 55%, said their children fall behind in school during the last 2 years. No shit. Kids should have been in school. That was crazy that they weren't allowed to be in school. That was nuts. That is totalitarian. Like, that's horrible. Governor DeSantis, Governor Abbott were absolutely right on that. Absolutely right. And I will argue anybody with that. While more said that their children fell behind academically at some point in the last 2 years. The National Parents Union surveyed 1,000 parents of K through 12 public school students, highlights the pandemic's psychological and educational toll on children, many of whom are still dealing with mental health or academic issues, difficulties with social skills, behavioral challenges in school, or bullying. The national online survey was conducted March 18th to the 21st by Echelon Insights. Of the 48% who cited mental health challenges, half of that 48% said their children aren't struggling anymore, while the other half said that they are still currently struggling. That's good that one half is not. There are 51 million children in American public quote, there are 51 million children in American public schools. So when we talk about 24% of them struggling with mental health, we're talking about 12.5 million kids. Carrie Rogers, National Parents Union co-founder and president, Total Insider. Quote, that's a lot of kids, end quote. And the issue now is, like, you turn to social media. When you turn to social media, it's not there to help you. It's not, dude. TikTok is a bad place to be. If you're a young child and you're on TikTok, it's not good for your brain. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, I could learn blah, 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 or this makes me happy. I don't care. Like, it's not a good place to be. Online bullying is a real fucking thing. And it's just, like, it's so crazy to me. Like, now we're, like, accepting it. Like, what are we talking about? This has been said the entire fucking time. Rodriguez said she was meeting with officials in the Departments of Education, Health, and Human Services to, quote, drive home the point that our top priority as parents since April of 2020 has been mental health support for these kids. Bullshit. You would have let the kids in school. Of those parents who said their children currently have mental health challenges, half said they would like to have school counselors and psychologists available to help address their children's challenges, but school psychologists are in short supply. The national associations, it's a ratio of 1 to 5,000. Quote, we were crying out for help and support, and now we are in reactive mode because that's how the system works. Because nobody's working, because, fuck, I'm not going to go to that shit. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Fucking hell, man. Ugh. Comment, whatever. Yeah, here's another one from The Guardian. This is 3 weeks ago. Teachers, quote, buckling under strain, end quote, of pupils' mental health crisis. Experts say educators are under-equipped to help children with rising mental health needs. Schools and teachers are buckling under the strain of supporting the fast-growing number of school children developing mental health problems such as anxiety and depression, experts say. They've never been in school before. They haven't had to talk to people before. They might be, they're all going to be developmentally stunted right now because you stripped them away from their life for 2 straight years. And Michael, how dare you say this? We had a pandemic. People died. I know people died. But guess who didn't die? The younger generation. Now the younger generation is going to end up dying and being miserable because of all this fucking bullshit and political nonsense that we got. Science said the entire time that if you were this weight, if you were this healthy, if you did this, you wouldn't die. That was the entire time when people were saying, I trust the science. But then if you didn't wear a mask and then you pulled up articles where it said masks actually didn't really stop the transportation, or when you put up articles and you looked at the number of people who were this weight and this healthy actually didn't die, people were like, well, shut the fuck up. You can't pick and choose when you believe in science or not. Trust the science. Get vaccinated. Let's look at the studies of the vaccine. Like, fuck out of here, man. It's complete bullshit, and that goes on both sides. You know, the fucking far right who says, oh, they don't actually do it. No, they do stop you from dying. They do. I wouldn't argue that. But then the far left who was saying bullshit like they stop from spreading it, or the fucking craziest one is when the people on the right say, my body, my choice. I'm not going to get the vaccine, but then they don't like girls getting an abortion. Get the fuck out of here. Or same thing on the left. My body, my choice. You could have an abortion, but you fucking better get the vaccine. My body, my choice. Let's pick a side. It's the same damn thing. Well, people are going to say, well, you're protecting other people. Fuck you. Get a vaccine yourself if you want to stay protected. Despite being the people's turn to most often when in distress, teachers are hampered in their desire to help by the profession's widespread lack of training in tackling mental ill health. The huge barriers many families in England face getting help for their son or daughter from the NHS, Children and Adolescents Mental Health Services, put pressure on schools according to a group of, quote, children's burgeoning. I don't know what that means. Burgeoning. I'm dumb. I can't read. I'm a fucking idiot. Health needs are not currently being met by the health sector. Schools and teachers provide vital support, but they are buckling under the strain of the demands placed on them. The mental health, quote, the mental health of children and young people in England and the services designed to support them are in a dire state, they said. While rates of mental illness in under 18s have risen by half in the last 3 years, provisions is nowhere near sufficient to meet need. Only 1 in 4 of the 500,000 children and young people referred to CAMHS every year received help as services are stretched, and many are refused care because they are deemed not ill enough. Who would ever guess? Your depression's not real. You're not. Oh, you haven't thought about putting a bullet through your fucking mouth? Well, guess what? You can't come here. Once you start thinking about fucking hanging yourself, you can come here. That's dark, but that's what they're saying. Yeah, so yeah. It is therefore both astonishing and alarming that teachers in England are not adequately trained. It's not. These fucking powerful individuals. I know personally people that are stepping out of that field because nobody cares. Nobody's there to help them, you know? I don't know. And, you know, it's Monday morning quarterbacking, but, like, at the same time, like, bro, I don't understand how you didn't understand that this was going to happen. And, like, the whole Ukraine and Russian thing, like, I don't know. That sucks. The whole thing sucks. I'll probably talk about that next episode. But, like, that shit sucks. Hopefully by the time I do the episode, the fucking war is over. But we'll see, man. I don't know. That's I hear people, like, on the right saying, like, this is what America gets. Like, they're backing Vladimir Putin. Get the fuck out of here. That guy's a fucking terrorist, dude. I respect Biden a lot for what he's doing. Like, calling fucking Putin out for his shit. You know, I respect that. Like, let's give respect where respect's needed. I live in fucking Trump town, too. Like, I mean, it's fucking wild out here, bro. These fucking people are wild. But, like, people are supporting Putin that are American. Get out of here with that. What are you doing? That guy's a dictator who rules with a fucking iron fist, literally. And, like, poisons his own people. And kills his own people. And kills Ukrainians. And says it's because they're Nazis. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, come on, man. Ugh, I can't. You know, but at the same time, a lot of people have this narrative that, like, this is the most polarized we've ever been. Just personally speaking, if you're not on social media, there's no polarization. And you could also say I'm somebody who just put their head in the sand and I'm a fucking ostrich just not paying attention to anything. I have been paying attention to things. But I also believe that if you spend less time on social media, you get a real feeling of the world. And the world's not as crazy as you think it is. I mean, humans are beautiful, and I really do believe that we're going to get out of this. You know, we're not going to go to nuclear war. I don't think that for a second. I know people be like, "What are you talking about? We're definitely going to." No, we're not going to go to nuclear war because when you're in nuclear war, everyone dies. And I can tell you one thing: Putin doesn't want. He doesn't want everyone dead. You know, I mean, I hope I'm right on that one. But, yeah, I just thank you guys so much for putting up with the lack of content for, like, the last 3 months. It was not what I wanted to do. Trust me, I wanted to put content out. I just couldn't do it. I was scared to say things that were, could hurt me. But now I'm a free fucking man. I'm a free man. I'm a free bird, as Leonard Skinner would say. Talking about Luna Skinner, there's so many Confederate flags around here, bro. Like, it's crazy. And I'm in Virginia. Like, I'm kind of, I guess I'm not, maybe I'm in the deep South, but I'm not like deep South. I'm not like fucking Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina. But I am, I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. Like, I'm pretty, I could throw a fucking baseball and hit Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm pretty south. Like, Maryland is technically south, but fucking they're not south. I mean, they do have a Republican governor, but like, I mean, it's a different call. I'll get in that into like the next episode. Like, I'll tell you guys about like my experience here and like the people here, and like it's fun. Like, these people are cool. Like, I don't know, they seem like they're more down to earth people, but at the same time, like, you see a Confederate, like there's dude right off 81, I think the big highway is. There's a statue there. Like, I don't know, like if I took a picture of this and like put it on Twitter, I feel like it would go viral. But like, it's a statue of I guess, I don't know, some Confederate general, and like right behind him, he's got like a pole wrapped with a Confederate flag, and it's got like a Confederate flag flying. I'm like, whoa. Like, I could be such a pest by like taking a picture of that and like, fuck the fuck about, but fuck it, whatever. I don't know. It's some bullshit. That's the one thing where I see, I'm like, I don't know if we should be doing that. But anyways, guys, we did an hour. Like I said, the podcast is gonna be an hour long. Right around an hour mark, maybe under an hour, but like I'm gonna shoot for over an hour. The only time it would be like under an hour is if like I'm planning on doing 2 podcasts a week, or like I have places to be. And it could, a lot of things could start changing, because if I do get like a job offer from blah, 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 I might have to change up the time I upload. But as of right now, it's going to be 6 a.m. Tuesday, weekly podcast, 6 a.m. on YouTube, 6 a.m. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Everywhere you get podcasts is where it's going to be. Things could change in the future, but they're probably not going to change, because I love doing the podcast and I love connecting with people, and I love that people listen to my shit. I think that's so cool. I love what I've been able to build here. But I gotta go eat breakfast. It's currently 10:38. I gotta go DoorDash. And then I also gotta go meet my lovely, amazing, fucking incredible girlfriend, who's I'm gonna get her some flowers too. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Thank you so much. See you.